Hello everybody and welcome again to What's Week. This week with this freak. And we've got a great show for you today. It's brought to you by the people from 12160 and Bubba's Falafel and Pesticide Emporium. Today on our top news, call center agent to Canada is in an uproar over a robocalling scandal which suggests that the last election could have been decided by automated phone calls. Michelle Zilio reports in the Montreal Gazette. Canada's former chief electoral officer says that recent allegations of systematic voter suppression phone calls are unprecedented in the country's electoral history. We have never seen anything like this alleged case in terms of this potential organization and impact in terms of numbers, said Jean-Pierre Kingsley, Canada's chief electoral official from 1990 to 2007. People vote twice, people destroy the signs, but this automated means and this use of call centers is the first time that allegations go so far as they are going. They're serious. Last week, Ottawa Citizen Post media news investigation revealed evidence of fraudulent pre-recorded phone calls made during the May federal election in Guelph through services provided by the Edmonton-based voice broadcast company Rack9 Inc. Further development in the story suggests that harassing live phone calls were made by callers posing as Liberal candidates in swing ridings. The National Post and Toronto Star also report that more live phone calls had been made in the Thunder Bay area, with callers phoning on behalf of the Conservative Party to alert voters of purported polling location changes. Kingsley said that the allegations may fall under one section of the Canadian Elections Act, Section 482B, which fines anyone who induces a person to vote or refrain from voting, or to vote or refrain from voting for a particular candidate in an election, guilty of intimidation of the electoral process. Whether the calls were pre-recorded or live is irrelevant, said Kingsley. In related news, the U.S. Department of Justice has announced its intent to sue Canada for violating its patented and proprietary methods of election fraud. Furthermore, the Department of Justice warned Canada not to be such a copycat in the future, adding, "Just try bombing some brown people in a nation that's never done you any harm and see how fast we sue your asses off." In our next story, in a story that's eerily similar to that of Latin America's chupacabra sightings, residents in northern Namibia along the southwest coast of Africa are reportedly being terrorized by some kind of strange dog-pig hybrid creature, reports the MSNBC. Eyewitness accounts of the alleged beast describe a mostly white animal with a dog-like head and a body similar to that of a giant warthog, with a broad, round, nearly hairless back and shoulders. The creature is typically spotted attacking domestic animals such as dogs and goats. Could the sightings be evidence of an animal unknown to science, or perhaps just a case of mistaken identity? Some people are asking if this strange beast could make an appearance in the U.S., and I phoned Homeland Security but was unable to get an answer from Homeland Security's Janet Napolitano, who is currently traveling in the African state of Namibia. Wait a minute. Silly primitives, that's not a dog-headed pig monster, it's a pig-headed monster watchdog. I guess you ought to crack a book or look at the internet on occasion. Next up, China's state police have seized iPhone-branded gas stoves with an Apple logo. 2 warehouses containing iPhone-branded gas stoves got seized by state police at Wuhan after discovering they are not real Apple products. More photos after the break. Yeah, I copy and pasted that wrong, didn't I? A total of 681 gas stoves that do not come with protection to prevent flame out were seized. Some of the gas stoves are iPhone branded, and each of them comes with an Apple logo in green color. Interestingly, there's a compliance certification label on these iPhone branded gas stoves saying Apple China Limited. Chinese state police became aware of the illicit products after several Chinese citizens tried to file a lawsuit against Apple for the grill marks seared into their faces when attempting to answer their barbecues. It's time for just a little smoke break here. Okay, the upper classes are more likely to cheat, says a study. Members of the upper class are more likely to lie, cheat, and even break the law than people from less privileged backgrounds, the study has found. Psychologists suggested that the findings could help explain the origin of the banking crisis, with self-confident, wealthy bankers more likely to indulge in reckless behavior. In contrast, members of the lower classes appeared more likely to display the traditional attributes of a gentleman. But psychologists at the University of California in Berkeley, who carried out the study, also suggested that the findings could help explain the origins of the banking crisis, with self-confident wealthy bankers more likely to indulge in reckless behavior. The study also suggests that unlike lower class criminals, the upper classes are much more likely to butt rape you outside the confines of a prison than inside, mostly because that's just not where they are. Excuse me. Virgin Galactic announced this week an offshoot of Richard Branson's Virgin Group expects to test fly its first spaceship beyond the Earth's atmosphere this year, with commercial suborbital passenger service to follow in 2013 or 2014, company officials said on Monday. Nearly 500 customers have signed up for the rides on Spaceship Two, a 6-passenger, 2-pilot spaceship being built and tested by Scaled Composites, which is an aerospace company founded by aircraft designer Burt Rutan and now owned by Northrop Grumman. The suborbital flights, which cost $200,000 per person, are designed gently penetrate the atmosphere to an altitude of about 68 miles, giving flyers a few minutes to experience zero gravity and glimpse Earth set against the blackness of space. The flights will then rapidly descend to Earth, leaving the riders to wonder, why so quick, and is that really it? In the suborbital area, there are a lot of things to be done. This is an area that has been essentially absent for about 4 decades, said Neil Armstrong, who was a test pilot for the 1960s era X-15 research plane before becoming a U.S. astronaut and commander of the first mission to land on the moon. There's a lot of opportunities, Armstrong said. About 400 people attending the Next Generation Suborbital Researchers Conference in Palo Alto, California. I certainly hope that some of the approaches will prove to be profitable and useful without too much discomfort or bleeding. When one reporter jokingly asked if he would be wearing a condom while de-virginizing his craft, Mr. Branson replied, "Yes, in fact, I'm wearing one now. Not the rib kind, though, because they give me post-traumatic corduroy flashbacks from the 70s. I just can't get that vip, vip, vip out of my head." Most reporters filed this with their respective news wires under too much information. The U.S. Congress is pushing a bill into law under the innocent pretense of making protests at the White House illegal. The new legislation just passed by the House, H.R. 347, informally known as the Trespass Bill, goes far beyond the White House and will outlaw peaceful protest in an almost endless possible combination of situations. The bill begins by making it illegal to enter or remain in any restricted building or grounds which are defined as any location where the Secret Service or any person under the protection of the Secret Service is located, or at any place designated as a special event of national significance. Hence, it will be illegal to protest at not only the White House, but at any location where the president, former presidents, their families, presidential and vice presidential candidates, foreign heads of state, U.S. officials performing certain tasks, or anyone else under the protection of the Secret Service is located. Well, that would mean that it would be illegal for protesters to hold a rally outside an Obama speech or any event hosted by Rick Santorum or Mitt Romney. It doesn't stop there either. The bill goes on to make it a federal offense to impede or disrupt the orderly conduct of government, business, or official functions, engages in disorderly conduct or disruptive conduct in or within such proximity to any restricted building or grounds when, or so that, such conduct in fact impedes or disrupts the orderly conduct of government, business, or official functions. My, is that a mouthful. Then, to make the bill all-inclusive, it's also a crime when anyone obstructs or impedes ingress or egress to or from any restricted buildings or grounds. To protect free speech for Americans under the bill, Congress is working on a deal that would set up permanent free speech zones at the bottom level of decommissioned nuclear missile silos, both in Russia and other countries that were once part of the USSR. This is what democracy looks like, comrade. Yeah. A powerful storm system that produced multiple reports of tornadoes lashed the Midwest earlier today. Roughed up the entertainment resort town of Branson and laying waste to small towns in Illinois and Kansas. At least 9 people were killed. An apparent twister rolled through Branson just before 1 a.m. and seemed to hopscotch up the city's main roadway, ripping roofs off hotels and damaging some of the city's famed music theaters dangerously close to the start of the heavy tourism season. At least 37 people reported hurt, mostly with cuts and bruises. We were blessed with several things: the time of year and certainly the time of day when people were not in their vehicles or outdoors, said Mayor Rhiannon Presley, noting that during Branson's peak season up to 60,000 visitors would have been in the city on any given day and staying in many of the hotels that were damaged. If it was a week later, it'd be a different story, said Bill Tyrone, assistant general manager for the 530-room downtown Hilton Hotel, where windows were shattered and some rooms had furniture sucked away in high winds. Hotel workers were able to get all guests to safety. To the north in Stone and Dallas counties, at least 60 homes were damaged or destroyed and at least 17 more people injured, one critically. John Moore, owner of the damaged Cakes and Creams 50s diner, said the tornado seemed to target the city's main strip, moving down the entertainment district through the convention center, across a lake, and into a housing division. He said the tornado appeared to jump side to side. The theater next to me kind of exploded. It went everywhere. The hotels on the 2 sides of me lost their roofs. Power lines are down. Windows are blown out, Moore said. There's major destruction. There has to be millions of dollars in damage all up and down the strip. At least 6 people were killed in the southern Illinois town of Harrisburg after a pre-dawn storm leveled much of the community of 9,000 people. In Missouri, 1 person was killed in a trailer park in the town of Buffalo. 2 more fatalities were reported in the Cassville and Puxico areas. Noting the incontrovertible evidence that God still hates trailer parks, the U.S. Congress called an emergency session today to pass legislation that would require all trailer parks to be relocated in underground in order to defend them against God's tornadoy wrath. The session closed without final resolution, however, as Congress was unable to come to an agreement as to whether subterranean trailer park dwellers should be referred to as mole people, poor white Morlocks, or under hillbillies. And it looks like we're at the end. And so, thanks for joining me, and that's it for What's Week this week, brought to you once again by 12160.info and Bubba's Falafel and Pesticide Emporium. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week on What's Week this week. Good night.